He has made his way down through the city of New Orleans on I-10, which has been shut down as the presidential motorcade makes its way down to downtown New Orleans, and ultimately will end at the Sewerage and Water Board, where he is expected to tour what can fairly be described as crumbling infrastructure at that plant. Not only is it crumbling infrastructure at the plant, but what is underneath the ground here in New Orleans is also an issue, one that our elected officials are very likely going to tell the president about as he makes his way through New Orleans as part of this infrastructure tour. He was in Lake Charles earlier today talking about crumbling bridges and things that have lasted well past their design lifetime, including one of the main bridges there in Lake Charles. He also took a look at some of the damage from Hurricane Maria that Lake Charles is still struggling to recover from. So now he's making his way here to New Orleans again. Touchdown at Armstrong International Airport about 3 o'clock. And now he's expected to tour the New Orleans Carrollton plant, both in terms of the water infrastructure at the plant and in terms of the drainage and power infrastructure that is located at that Carrollton plant. President Biden is expected to be there in the next few minutes. David Hammer is standing by live near the Carrollton plant with the latest on what we can expect to hear possibly from the president. We aren't necessarily expecting to hear him speak today, but this is an area that is obviously a significant need for New Orleans. David, you and I both have spent a lot of time detailing what the needs are.
That's right, Katie. Good afternoon. Yeah, our Down the Drain investigation has looked at the problems at the Sewerage and Water Board for years. Obviously, 2017 was a big blow when a lot of the city flooded because of power problems to run the drainage pumps. We also have a lot of issues with the power to run the pumps to run the water system, which leads to boil water advisories. We certainly expect that President Biden will be taking a look at a lot of those functions that are here at this central power plant, that it's kind of a poster child for the infrastructure needs that he's pushing right now in Washington.
Right, David. And right now, President Biden is making his way into the other side of the Carrollton plant from where David is. David is located over by the water infrastructure. We do expect President Biden to take a look at both the drinking water cleaning place in that plant, and he should also take a look at some of the power issues and, of course, talk about hopefully the drainage issues that New Orleans has with the infrastructure that's at that plant. And right now you're seeing on your screen with me Mayor LaToya Cantrell with President Biden as they're making their way through the Carrollton plant for the Sewerage and Water Board. And that really is the nerve center for both the water and drainage systems for the city of New Orleans. Now you can see there behind him, that is the area where they treat the water. And President Biden's getting a firsthand look at that area. And he, of course, is with a whole entourage of elected officials as he makes his way through the city. Mayor Cantrell is there. President Biden, again, we don't know if he's going to make any kind of a statement while he's there, but we, of course, will be listening for that in case he does. But heads of the Sewerage and Water Board are expected to give him an update on the infrastructure there. Let's take a listen really quick and see if there's anything we can glean from what they're talking about.
Not only as the mayor, but also as the president of the utility and the board. So thank you so much for all your support with everything that we do. Again, Mr. President, it's just an honor. And I want to start by thanking you for selecting the Sewage and Water Board and the Carrollton Water Plant as a site to showcase and to, showcase your vision to the country, and for sharing your passion about the water infrastructure. I've been in this business for about 30 years, and this is the first time I can truly say that you are the first president who highlighted and elevated the water infrastructure front and center as an issue for the entire country. And on behalf of all the utilities, water utilities across the nation, I thank you for that.
I used to be a county councilor there, and one of the first major issues we had was dealing with water overflows, not like you have here.
Yes.
But there was a lot of construction. We were the fastest growing city, county in the metropolitan nationally in 1970. And in 71, we had all the construction overflowing. We had to put in the tidal basin and the rest, and we had to put in a filtration facility. And it was a lot of work.
Yes, absolutely.
It was way above my pay grade.
Well, Mr. President, before we have a very exciting tour for you today, but before we start the tour, there are two unique facts about our city and about our system that I think are relevant for today's tour. And the first one is the fact that our city is divided by the Mississippi River. So we have two cities really as part of one, which results in requiring us to have two separate facilities for the same purpose, such as water filtration, wastewater treatment and such, which adds a burden in terms of cost, ownership, and maintenance. It's just a unique situation for a utility like ourselves. The other unique fact about the city is that we live in a bowl, and much of the city lives below sea level. And the relevance of that and significance of that is the fact that every time it rains, every drop that rains falls on the city must be actively pumped out. That's very significant for us as a utility because not only we provide drinking water and treat wastewater, but we're also responsible for the drainage as a utility. And we take that awesome responsibility very, very seriously. Much like you talked about flooding, our charge as a utility is to prevent flooding or minimize it at best. And we are challenged with the climate change and the enormity of the frequency of the rainfalls that we have been experiencing. We think that we will continue to experience. The site you're sitting on today is about 74 acres. It's average of 100 years old because parts of it is older than 100 and some of it is younger. It serves two purposes, providing drinking water for our community, and we also generate power. And the significance of generating power on this site is the fact that not only it allows us to drive drinking water pumps that deliver water to the distribution system to deliver to people's homes, but it also, equally important, it allows us to drive all the pumps throughout the city, again, to pump the city dry and prevent it from flooding. So this is very crucial.
That's over here.
So the river is over there. We're standing in the middle of two processes here. This is the chlorination basin.
Gotcha.
So we introduce chlorine to this water, and we force it to walk slowly through meanders through that basin. It goes into this basin right here, which is the filter gallery, and it goes through a media of gravel and sand and charcoal, and then it ends up with the end product, the final product. So it's obviously very crucial step that we do. So there are three key steps to filtering water or providing good water to our city. We pump water from the Mississippi, get it to this point, we filter it, we disinfect it, and we get it to the pumping stations where the pumps put it in the distribution system. Three key steps. You're gonna get a chance to see an active site where we show partnership with the federal government, with FEMA, improving the way we pump water into the distribution system. Again, very key step that we're doing very well at, and once the project is complete, we're gonna feel very good at that key step. But if we come back here, where things may look fairly nice on the surface, what lies beneath is a very antiquated and old system, and it has served its life. And every day that goes by, the risk of failure increases.
The whole system should be.
The whole system could fail and render us dysfunctional in terms of providing drinking water. So that's very concerning for us, I would say for the mayor, because this is, is existential as can be in terms of having a city relying on us. We provide the water for the entire city of New Orleans.
And we had to address a cross-connection issue several years ago, 2 years ago. Because what we found is we pushed our leadership to really explore. We found that the water we were using in terms of drinking was also cooling our turbines, cross-connection. So we had to ensure, one, allocated resources there to deal with cross-connection, because drinking water is such a big vital component. You know that.
Another concern of ours, Mr. President, we know what's coming around the corner in terms of higher standards for quality of water. And we know for a fact that without making significant improvements for how we purify water, that we would not be able to meet those standards. It's a given. You will render us useless in terms of providing our community with drinking water. We are 100% supportive of the higher standards, but we are definitely challenged by the fact how do we get ourselves to that level.
At the same time, as the rainfall and the heat, I've been very deeply involved. We've rejoined the Paris Climate Accord. We just had a meeting with 40 heads of state, and we're talking about sea levels rising, water levels rising, and what would it take if you were starting? It's an unfair question. You're starting from scratch. What would you be building here now?
I would be building a more modern filtration facility for the next 50 to 75 years, utilizing the most modern state-of-the-art technology that will produce much better quality water and a higher standard, such as all the emerging contaminants that we need to capture that we are not able to capture with this current system. So it's a wholesale refurbishment of this.
Estimate the cost or the cost to do that? And how would you transition in the meantime?
Absolutely.
So
I believe, Ghassan, that Ramsey might have some good points on modernization.
The reason I asked the question,
Yes, sir.
I have this, what people don't quite understand is my infrastructure proposal is several $1 trillion. I mean, this is about modernizing our infrastructure to provide, people don't think of infrastructure as the water.
Correct.
If you don't have the water 10 years from now that is needed and the purity needed, your whole city is in real trouble. And it's going to affect everything from the health and the viability of the city. And so when I talk about the human cost of this, I think I have trouble convincing some of my friends on the other side of the aisle that infrastructure is all about making life livable for ordinary people.
Yes.
And this is the most basic thing. I've been focusing on dealing with, for example, there's, as you know, 10 million homes with lead pipes still going. You got 400,000 schools and daycare centers that still have lead pipes feeding them. And I know here in your city, like most, you've been able to get rid of the lead pipes up to the property line. But from the property line on, that's when you haven't been able to do that. We could do that. And this proposal I have would allow you to be able to, with a 80-20 match,